Hi, it's Carrie from the Pilot Sisters. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Today I just want to go over what is a check ride. I know a lot of my friends and family have heard me talk about check rides and tests and flight training because I have done so much of it. But I wanted to briefly just make a video that goes through what is a check ride? What are you preparing for? Why do you get so stressed? Well, basically a check ride is a day where you have a ground evaluation as well as a practical flight evaluation. The FAA refers to it as a practical test with an examiner, and they evaluate your ability to perform your flight maneuvers for whichever rating you're applying for. For most check rides, what happens is you do the required flight training, you do the required ground training, and you take a written test. A written test being like a multiple choice that you have to take at an approved testing center. So right now I've been studying for my certified flight instructor instrument rating. So I spent the past couple weeks studying for my written test. And then I went online to find a testing center, found my testing center, went and took my test. It was a 50-question test. I had like 2 hours to complete it. Completed it, got a good score. And then I'm going to take that written test score into my check ride, which will be in about 3 weeks to get this additional rating onto my flight instructor certificate. So basically, day of the check ride, what I'm preparing for, I've already coordinated with my examiner what day we're going to take it, where, what airport. He's told me how much his fee is. Usually take a check ride, it's somewhere around $600 depending on the examiner. And then day of the check ride, I'll go in. We'll have like maybe an hour to 3 hour depending on how well I know my stuff and how much of evaluation the examiner needs to do on my ground knowledge. We're talking about things like flight planning, weather. He's asking me things about the aircraft systems, or what would I do if I was in XYZ situation, or how did I plan this, or why am I choosing to go this route, or might ask me about certain regulations, because in aviation we have this whole book of regulations that we need to know when we can fly, how much fuel we need to fly with, what are the required inspections, things like that. We'll be talking on the ground before I'm approved to have this additional certification. And then after the ground is completed, assuming that it's satisfactory and I'll pass it, we will have a practical examination and I'll be flying. Depending on what you're trying to get a rating for, depends on the kind of flying that you'll be doing, but usually the flight lasts about like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on what certain skills you need to demonstrate in the plane. And that is basically what a check ride is. You take a written test, and then that written test can last up to 2 years, so you'll take your check ride somewhere within like those 2 years. For me, it's a couple of weeks, and for the current thing I'm working on right now. And then we'll go in and I'll do my check ride the day. It's just a huge deal for pilots to take these check rides and to pass them. You kind of get used to it after you've done the first couple, but it's still a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills to be sharp on and to show the examiner that you're capable. Thank you for listening. I hope that answered some of your guys' questions about check rides and flight training. And let me know if you have any questions, just post them down below. Thanks again.